Hi everyone, it's your boy Buck Says, and it's a massive week for the Premier League. I actually filmed a video last week, and before getting pie on my face with a video decomposing while Ronaldo was right to join Man City, I had the rug pulled underneath me, as I'm sure many of you did, and we heard that quite possibly the greatest player of all time. That's probably a debate for another video, but quite possibly the greatest player of all time is back for the Red Devils, for Manchester United. It's unbelievable news. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a massive Ronaldo fan, not just for what he does on the pitch, but what he does off the pitch also. I think, everyone knows in a footballing sense what he can do. Personally, I don't think it was the right decision from a legacy standpoint, but going into that, I think a lot of people have this notion that Ronaldo is selfish, that he has an ego, that he has a ton of pride. This has proved that he hasn't taken the easy way out. Man City have won 4 out of the last 5 Premier League titles. They are the dominant team in England. They've reached semi-finals in the Champions League. They've reached the final last year. And I think it was probably the easier choice. You have to think that if Ronaldo cared about his personal legacy, he's chasing down that 6th Ballon d'Or figure that Messi has right now. He's obviously robbed of the one that Modric won that year when he three-peated, scored the hat-trick against Spain in the World Cup final. So you'd think that his main aim is the Ballon d'Or, and to go to Man United when I think City was the easy ticket in terms of probably definitely had he joined, I'd say the Premier League title would have been a lock. I'd say that they would have had a massive shot at the Champions League. I don't think United are quite at that level yet, but you can't ignore the romanticism of the decision. You can't ignore what he has done, the legacy of what he's taking back to that place. It's an unbelievable return for the man. I think all the notions of personal glory have gone aside for me. I think really, you look at the bond he has with Sir Alex, and I think it was a big drive in him wanting to return. I think he's prioritised repaying a man who probably gave him all the skills that he needed to succeed in his career, has given him the tutelage and the guidance, and I think this is probably the highest form of repayment. I think had Fergie not had the brain aneurysm, he'd probably be quite tempted to come back. And on that note, I think, with Chris Ron back at United, it's a big season now. You've got some big storylines unfolding. And this is a guy that scored 81 league goals between the age of 33 and 36 at a declining Juve team. What is his legacy at Juventus? I don't know. I think a lot of people will say it's a failure because he didn't win the Champions League. In the grand scheme of things, you could say yes, but I think in terms of his remit, which was to go there and score a ton of goals, he did. He leaves as one of their highest goal scorers. 81 league goals in 3 years. You really can't comprehend those figures. 20 is a good tally in the Premier League. 27 in Serie A, which is historically a difficult league to score probably more than 25 goals in. And he went toe-to-toe with Lukaku, and now he's back actually facing Lukaku. Lukaku, the destroyer of the 10th Serie A in a row, led Milan to the league title. So it's going to be big to see their feud reignited. Manchester United versus Chelsea. I personally think my early season prediction, I still think Chelsea have the edge. And I think they have the edge because they have a more balanced team. Balanced in the sense that, they've got a midfielder, defensive midfielder. They've got the best defensive midfielder in the league. You take Kante in that Man United team, I think I'd switch to them. I think Fred and McTominay might be a bit wafer thin. For me, I think it's a big thing. You've got the best, one of the best 2 players in the world. You've got Messi at PSG now. I think Ronaldo will need the supporting cast to push Messi. I think Messi's got a massive shot with Mbappe and Neymar here. I think if there's one person that will rise to the challenge, rise to the occasion, we just saw it. Greatest international goal scorer of all time now. Unbelievable. 111 goals to score in the fashion he did too. The leap, the airtime. This guy's big time. If I could guarantee you a starting, I'd be straight on the train to Manchester. And it's so funny because, Manchester United have probably been the most hated club. Well, I think now less so, but at least when Fergie was there, they were the most hated club in England if you weren't supporting them. And now I think they're most people's second favourite team now. I think, a lot of people are going to be raring for them to go. I think if you're not a football fan, it's a great time to be invested in football because, we've got not just one of the best footballers of all time, but we've got a global superstar gracing our shores. And I think it's going to be probably one of the best Premier League seasons ever. Get him in your fantasy teams, captain him. This is going to be massive. And I think, even at 36, to see his longevity, to see his development, his growth, I'm really excited. In terms of the pundits, there's a lot of pundits that speak on Man United. I think the issue with the pundits in the media right now, with Ferdinand, Keane, and Neville is that they will personally know Ollie, and I think it's a bit difficult to probably pull the rug out from him. I personally don't think he's good enough. If it's similar with Arsenal, I think the main problem with a lot of these teams is the teams that have ended up winning the Premier League. Barring the Leicester fluke, not to say Ranieri wasn't a great manager, but the teams that have won the Premier League have had world-class elite managers. Fergie, Wenger, Conte, Mourinho, Klopp, Guardiola. You need a very good manager. You need a manager that can probably elevate average players like Jordan Henderson and make them world-class, like Klopp has done. And I don't think Ollie can do that. I don't think he has a system. I think they can score goals. I think where they struggle is they can't beat the Lille teams or dispose of them. He gets found out quite a bit. I don't think he can adapt his game plan as much. I think he's relying on two DMs who are way thin. I don't think he plays Pogba in his right position. But for me, I want to see Ronaldo win the league. Personally, as an Arsenal fan, it's pretty stupid to say, but we have no shot, in a relegation battle with Norwich next weekend. So let's see how that goes. But for me, right now, Conte is available. Would you go get a Conte? I think the excuses are anything. What I'm saying is, I think persisting with Ollie feeds into this whole romanticism notion. United is currently built on a ton of nostalgia. Ronaldo returning, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager. Bruno. He's obviously emulating the legacy of what has come before him. I think in terms of making that next step, there's not many excuses. You bought in Varane, Sancho, and now Ronaldo. Actually, they bought in Varane and Ronaldo for the same amount of money it cost us to buy Ben White, which tells you everything you need to know about Arsenal Football Club. Not that we could ever attract CR7. But they have no excuses now, and I think a lot of people are trying to downplay their chances. I think that with that team, or with the second best player of all time, they should be winning the league title. I think anything other than that, for me, will be a failure in their season. I think the right manager could get them to that point, but I'd be interested to hear what United fans think. You've got a player now who scored 450 goals in 430 against Real Madrid. You've got a player that scored 81 league goals. Again, 81 league goals in 3 seasons. You've got a player that is the highest international goal scorer of all time. He bleeds goals. So for me, all the pundits saying, still rebuilding process, we need this, that. No, really what you need is a good manager. And you don't currently have it. But can Ronaldo carry them over the line in spite of that? He very well could, because such is the legacy, such is the greatness of the man that plays. I think, in terms of wanting to see him score good goals, I don't know how often we're going to get that. The guy's a poacher. He has hang time. He's probably going to get on the end of a lot of crosses. I think even if we see 20 tap-ins and 10 penalties, it's still going to be an electric season, just because of the presence and the lift, what he brings to the Premier League in terms of a global appeal. But, I'm lost for words. To pick Manchester City... not pick Manchester City over Manchester United is just an insane choice. A choice which I think long term will probably damage his chances of probably ousting that overall tally of Ballon d'Ors from Messi, considering I think Messi's now in pole position to probably win another one. But to me, the man has done it. I don't want to count him out. I think a lot of people have counted him out. They counted him out before this game against Ireland, and he's gone and he's done it there. They're counting him out already against Lukaku this year for the Golden Boot. People are saying he's past 36. Let me tell you, the man has the body of a 25-year-old. He's a literal phenom. He actually probably takes the doubt on more than anything. He absorbs that energy, and let me tell you, that energy is going to make him thrive. And this season, he is going to thrive. I predict Ronaldo will probably win the Golden Boot. I predict that they'll probably slightly fall short in the Premier League title race, but I think there's going to be some big moments. I think you should get him in your fantasy team, and I think that everyone should probably get a Sky Sports subscription, because you're about to witness greatness. See.